That loss against Stanford, I think, is going to cost Colorado making a bowl game. They're not now going to get to 6 wins. The rest of the schedule is challenging. But I want to ask you this. Colorado, if they miss a bowl game this year, does that take away some of the shine on Deion Sanders? I think it does. I think it does. For all the good he's accomplished so far at Colorado in year number 1, not getting to 6 wins, not making a bowl game, I think undermines some of what he's done in year number 1. And this part's not even directed at Deion himself. This is more directed on a lot of his fans and, frankly, sycophants out there. But you can't have it both ways. You cannot praise Deion Sanders and Colorado when they're 3-0. Talk about him going to the NFL. Talk about him taking any job anywhere that he wants, and every SEC team should hire him, and he should be the heir to Nick Saban's throne in Alabama, and go back and forth about how Deion Sanders is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Which, side note, I don't know why we keep saying that. Like, there's been plenty of things better than sliced bread, but anyway, I digress. But you can't talk about him like one of the greatest things to ever come on this planet, and then after that 3-0 start, go 2-7 down the stretch, miss a bowl game, and pretend like all is good. All is well. Nothing to see here. Nothing wrong in this picture. You can't have it both ways. There has to be accountability when your season starts off hot and goes right down the tubes in front of our faces. And that accountability starts with criticizing Deion Sanders and his lack of a good coaching job. Look, I'll be honest. I had no idea what to expect from Colorado this year. No idea. I had no idea how good of a coach Deion Sanders was. I had no idea if his son Shador was any good at quarterback. I had no idea what this team was going to look like when you pull 75% from the transfer portal, how they would mesh and come together in 1 year. So before the season, I would have said 3-4 wins. 3 or 4 wins, in that range. Obviously, they have already matched that total, being 4-3 right now. But to their credit, I did not see a win over TCU on the road in game number 1, a win over Nebraska in game number 2, and then look, they made it closer than they should have been. It was actually a very ugly game. They got lucky to win that game, but you beat Colorado State and you're 3-0. I didn't see a 3-0 start coming. I didn't at all. I thought for sure they'd be 1-2 with losses to TCU and losses to Nebraska. So even though you have no expectations going in, those expectations change as results come in. And when you're there 3-0, beating 2 Power 5 teams, the expectation, bare minimum, is make a bowl game. I remember taking calls on this network, CBS Sports Radio right here, hosting my normal show, 2 to 6 a.m. Eastern, Hick At Nite, so a shameless plug on Saturday mornings. Saturday evenings, sometimes Friday nights, on CBS Sports Radio right here. And people were saying this team is a dark horse college football playoff contender. They're going to go to the Pac-12 championship. They're going to win 10 games. Those are crazy. Crazy. But again, I think at bare minimum, most people would agree and sign up for. You're 3-0, okay, go 3-6 down the stretch here, get to a bowl game, and that bare minimum is a success. And now you're looking at a Colorado team going into Friday night's game, last Friday night. At 4-2, you're playing a bad, let's not sugarcoat it, a bad Stanford team, and you get the return of arguably your best player in Travis Hunter, who's back for the first time in a month after suffering that the lacerated liver against Colorado State. You think, okay, we got this in the bag. Stanford's a win one more game down the stretch, and again, bare minimum, we are talking about bowl eligibility. Well, as we know, you blow it, and now look at the remaining schedule. Again, Colorado's 4-3. To be bowl eligible, you need 6 wins. This is the remaining schedule for the Buffaloes. At number 25, UCLA. Home against number 12, Oregon State, with DJ Uiagalelei, the Clemson transfer, looking really damn good now. Arizona, which don't take Arizona lightly, they smoked number 19, Washington State, on the road. and played Washington, played Oregon, lost to both. Played Washington, played USC, I should say. Lost to both, but lost to both by a combined 9 points. So Arizona's no easy out, no lay down, throw your jock strap on the field, then it's over. At Washington State, who again is in a little bit of a rough patch right now, but playing up at the Palouse is a tough environment. And at number 14, Utah. Good luck right now getting 2 wins out of that 5-game stretch to go to the bowl game. And when Deion doesn't do it, he absolutely deserves criticism and absolutely deserves blame for bad coaching. For bad coaching. And that's why for me, if he does not make a bowl game, some of the shine, some of the praise he got needs to be taken back, needs to be reined in. Again, you can't have people basically call you the second coming of Jesus Christ after the first 3 weeks of the season. And then now, as we're a month or so removed from that, ignore or say, oh, it's no big deal that this team led by Deion Sanders blew a 29-0 lead to Stanford at home against a bad Stanford team. Is out of 130 teams in the country, 129th in total defense. They are 124th in the country, again, out of 130, in rushing offense, and they are tied for the most penalties in college football. Undisciplined, bad at the line of scrimmage, horrendous defense, and couldn't come through to put away a bad Stanford team after having many chances to bag an easy win. Being 5-7 is a massive disappointment for Deion Sanders in Colorado, and he absolutely deserves blame if this season finishes with 5 wins and they are not bowl eligible. I don't think a lot of people knew what to expect. I certainly didn't. You get off to a hot start, you run your mouth, you talk your talk. For the first 3 games, you walk the walk. You then just can't falter after a hot start, fizzle out the way he has, and say it's all good. Nothing to see here. No problem. He deserves criticism, absolutely, for what would be a disappointing year number 1. And this is also, to me, interesting. After the game, after, again, blowing a 29-0 lead to Stanford at home, Deion was asked about the loss, and he said the loss, in part, was because his team not ready for the big time.
Right now, we're not built for the moment. We're not built for the moment. Some of our players aren't built for the moment where they have to make a play, or they have to keep contained, or they have to make a block, or they have to get another yard. We're not built for the moment right now.
And who's to blame for that? It's Deion. For not getting his players ready to play for the moment, which, at least in this game, he's referring to getting ready to beat Stanford. Not exactly Washington, not exactly Oregon, not exactly one of the best teams in the country. So expectations change when you get off to the hot start Deion and Colorado got off to. And when you start 3-0, you start strutting around, keeping receipts, talking your talk. Again, through 3 games, walking the walk. But then you fizzle out after that. You finish without bowl eligibility. After starting 3-0, you can't get to 6 wins. Deion Sanders absolutely deserves criticism for that and deserves to be called what is a bad coaching job in year number 1. And I think it does take some of the shine off of Coach Prime. Undermines some of the success he had at Colorado in year number 1.